Okay, Assalamu alaikum. This is Talha bin Nadeem, and this is the fifth video tutorial regarding the topic of the carburetor. In the last video lecture, we discussed, we basically derived the relation for the air fuel ratios, for the air fuel ratio which is being prepared inside the carburetor, and we derived that relation for the two cases. The first case was when we considered air as a compressible fluid, and for the second case when we considered the air as a incompressible fluid. And now today we will do some numericals regarding the topic of the carburetor, and in these numericals we will be using the basic concepts which we have studied in the last four lectures. And not only that, not only we will utilize those concepts, but we will also use the relations which we derived in the previous lecture. So starting off with the first numerical, uh, a simple jet carburetor is required to supply 5 kilograms of air and 0.5 kilograms of fuel per minute. So basically, in this statement we are being provided with the mass flow rate of this is the mass flow rate of air, and this is basically the mass flow rate of fuel per minute. Moving forward, the specific gravity of the fuel is 0.75. So the specific gravity of the fuel is also given, which is 0.75. It means that we can simply calculate the density by using this relation. The density for the fuel will be 0.75, or you can say specific gravity multiplied by the density of a water at density of the water which is basically 1000. So when we will simply multiply this 0.75 with 1000 to get the density of fuel, so it will be 750 kilograms per meter cube. Now moving forward, the air is initially at 1 bar and 300 kelvins. So it is basically the information regarding the atmospheric air, or we can say that this is the information regarding the state 1 at which the air is entering inside the carburetor, the section which was AA, which I mentioned in the derivation as well. I explained in the theoretical classes and also in the derivation. At that point the air is at 1 bar and 300 Kelvin. Now we have to calculate the throat diameter. So the throat diameter, the venturi throat was at section BB, or the state 2. We have to calculate the throat diameter for the flow velocity of 100 meter per second. And as we have derived the relation as well in the last class, in the last lecture we studied that the velocity of the incoming air was very small as compared to the velocity of the air at the throat. So this velocity is the velocity at the throat, because 100 meter per second is a quite higher velocity. So this value is basically C2. So another thing here is given the velocity coefficient, which is 0.8. So again the question is, what is velocity coefficient? Velocity coefficient we can simply define the velocity coefficient as the ratio of actual velocity to the ratio of ideal velocity, or simply we can say velocity coefficient is equals to V actual divided by V ideal. So the question is, the question which can arise in our mind is that why there is a difference between the actual velocity and the ideal velocity which is flowing out of the nozzle. And the answer to that question is because of the friction between the two different between the moving molecules, and not only between the moving molecules of the fluid, but also between friction uh, between the air molecules and the surface of the nozzle. Because of this phenomena, because of this friction, there are some there is some uh, we will get a lesser velocity as compared to the velocity which we should have had. So the velocity coefficient is always less than 1, which is also mentioned in our case. Here you can see that the velocity coefficient is 0.8. So another thing which is mentioned here is, if the pressure drop occurs across the fuel metering orifice is 0.8 of that of the choke. So by the word fuel metering orifice, it means that we are talking about the pressure drop of fuel, and it is mentioning here that the pressure drop of fuel is 0.8 times of that of the choke. Means the pressure drop across the fuel is 80% of the pressure drop which is occurring at the choke, and during and inside this choke or venturi throat we have basically air. So it is talking about the pressure drop of air. So we can simply write this statement as the pressure drop of fuel is equals to 0.8 times of delta P A. So I hope it is clear now. And okay, then we have we also have to determine the orifice diameter. We have to determine two things here. First one was the diameter of throat, which is D2, because the throat is at the section BB, or you can say we mentioned with the suffix 2. So we have to determine D2, or the diameter of throat, and we have to calculate the orifice diameter. So the orifice diameter is basically that diameter from which the fuel is flowing from the float chamber to the venturi throat. So we have to determine these two things, these two diameters. Okay, now starting this question, as we know that we have to determine the throat diameter. This throat diameter is basically can easily be determined by using the relation for the mass flow rate of air, which is a mass flow rate of air, which can simply be given by using the continuity equation. This is rho A, density of the air, and it is being multiplied with the area of section 2, and then with the velocity, which is c2, and it is given in the question as well. And with the help of this A2, we will determine the diameter of the venturi throat. So in this equation, mass flow rate of the air is given, velocity is also given, we have to determine A2, but the density of the air is not given. Density of the air at state 2, density of the air at state 2 is not given, and it is also not mentioned in the question that whether we should consider air as a compressible fluid or as an incompressible fluid. So if it is not mentioned in the question that air is a compressible fluid or an incompressible fluid, then we will simply look for the data of the air. In this question, you can see the initial data of the air is given, which is 1 bar and 300 kelvins. So this initial state of the air means that we have sufficient enough information about the air that we can apply we can consider the compressibility effects of the air. So in this question, we will solve this question by considering the air as a compressible fluid, or in short, you can say that we will use the relations which we derived in the first derivation when we considered air as a compressible fluid. Now moving forward, since we have to determine the relation for the density, and for that purpose we can simply use this isentropic relation. Okay, I'm using the symbol K here for gamma. Okay, I'm just writing to the power gamma, and similarly we will have this relation for the state 2. This is the basic relation which we will use to determine the density. We will convert this specific volume into the density by simply taking the reciprocal. This specific volume would be 1 upon rho. This relation will be used to determine the density, but we are being provided with the P1, but P2 is not given. And for P2, we would be using the relation which we derived in the first derivation for the mass flow rate of the air, which is mentioned, which is this one. This is the relation which we will be using, which we are using to determine the value of P2. This is the relation which we derived to determine the velocity at state 2, and we use that relation to obtain the mass flow rate of air in the derivation. Now simply we will just put the values of C2, velocity coefficient, to Cp. Cp is basically the specific heat capacity of air, and its value is constant, which is 1005, and the initial temperature which was given to you 300 Kelvin. P1 was also given, and we also know the value of gamma for air, which is 1.4, and when we simply solve this relation, we obtained that P2 upon P1 is 0.912, and then we simply send this P1, which is dividing in the left hand side, it will go to the right hand side and it will be multiplied with 0.912, and the value of P1 is 1 bar. So the pressure at state 2 will be 0.912 bars. Now we have determined the pressure at state 2. We will simply there is another step here, that is to determine the density at state 1 as well, because we also require the density in this isentropic relation. This is that isentropic relation which I mentioned here, P1 into specific volume to the power gamma is equals to P2 into specific volume at state 2 to the power gamma, and this specific volume will be converted into 1 upon density. I also explained this relation in the last class as well, in the last video tutorial as well. So now we will also determine the density at state 1, and for that purpose we will simply use ideal gas equation. We will convert this specific volume into density by simply putting 1 upon rho 1, and then putting the value of P1, R and T1, we will obtain the value of density at state 1. Now since we have determined the value of rho 1 and P2, we will put these values in the isentropic relation to determine the value of density of air at state 2. Now you will notice that now we have calculated rho 2, and C2 was also given in the question. This one, I am talking about this relation. We have calculated rho 2 and C2 is also given. Mass flow rate is also given. Now we will calculate the area at the Venturi throat. We will simply put these values to obtain the area, and it is coming out to be 7.658 to the power 10 ki power minus 4 meter square, and when we will convert it, we will convert this into centimeter square, we will get this relation, this value. So now since we have obtained the area and the Venturi throat, or that portion from which the air is coming and taking the fuel with itself, is a circular section. So this A2, the area of that circular section can simply be given by pi upon 4 d square, and since we are talking about the Venturi throat, area of the Venturi throat, so this pi upon 4 d square, we will not be having a d square, rather we would be having d2 square, since we are talking about the throat. Then we can simply we put the value of A2, which we have calculated earlier, to obtain the value of the diameter at the venturi throat, which is coming out to be 3.12 centimeter in our case. Okay, in the next section, you are being asked to determine the diameter of the fuel metering orifice. Here you can see you have to calculate the diameter, calculate orifice diameter. So for that purpose, you must know about the area of that orifice from which the fuel is coming to the venturi throat, and in order to obtain that area, here you can see, in order to obtain that area, the mass flow rate of the fuel is given, coefficient of discharge of the fuel is given to you in the question. The density of the fuel, we were not given the density. Instead of the density, we were provided with the specific gravity, and I explained that earlier. We can simply convert that specific gravity into density by multiplying it with 1000. So, and we also obtained the density of the fuel was 750. I explained that part earlier. We have to, so there is only one term which is not given, and we have to find out to use this relation, and that is of delta PF, means the pressure drop across the fuel metering orifice. Inside the float chamber, the pressure is 1 bar, and what will be the pressure outside the float chamber, or you can say what will be the pressure inside the throat. So now you can, this is delta PF is basically the difference between the pressure at inside float chamber to the pressure at venturi throat, and because of this pressure difference, the fuel is flowing from the float chamber into the venturi throat, and this pressure difference is basically called carburetor depression. I explained that terminology in the earlier classes as well. So delta PF, we are also provided with the relation that the pressure drop across the fuel metering orifice, means delta PF is 0.8 times of that of the pressure drop across the choke, means that delta PF can be determined if we know the delta PA, and we are being provided with the state 1, with the pressure at state 1, and we have also calculated the pressure at state 2 as well, which is this one. So we know these pressures. We will simply take the difference between these two pressures to obtain the pressure at state, pressure difference of at choke, and we will multiply it with 0.8 to obtain the pressure difference, to obtain the pressure drop inside the fuel metering orifice. Then we will simply use the relation for the mass flow rate of fuel. We will put the value of this mass flow rate of fuel. You may note that this mass flow rate is being divided with the 60, because we were given that fuel was 0.5 kg, the fuel utilization was 0.5 kg per minute. So instead of using that per minute, we will convert this into the second. and then this CDF, coefficient of discharge of fuel, we put all these values, and the value for the density and the value for the pressure drop across the fuel metering orifice, which we calculated earlier. So we will obtain the area of the fuel metering orifice, which is 4.28 into 10 to the power minus 6 meter square. Then we will simply, since that section is a circular section and the area for that circular section can simply be given by pi upon 4 d square. Since we are using F as a suffix for this fuel metering orifice, just to represent it, to making it clear that we are talking about that section from which the fuel is flowing, we will not only use that F in the suffix of area, but we will also use the F in the suffix of diameter. Then we will simply take do the calculation to obtain the final value of the diameter of the fuel metering orifice. So this ends with the problem number 1 of our topic. So now we will solve another problem which is quite similar to this one. So in fact I will not explain the details of that problem. In fact I will just provide you the solution of that, and I will just go through the briefly go through that question, and you will solve that problem by yourself. I will provide you the solution although. So now we are talking about this question number 2, 8.2, and this is the question of that numerical. A simple carburetor is required to supply 6 kilograms of fuel, 6 kilograms of air, and 0.4 kilograms of fuel per minute. So again the question is very much similar to the previous question which we have done. The only difference is that the numerical values are different. Next is that the density of a fuel is 770 kilograms per meter cube. In this problem you are being directly provided with the density, which is 770 kilograms per meter cube. In the previous problem you were being given with the specific gravity of the fuel, which we converted it by simply multiplying it with the 1000. The air is initially at 1 bar and 290 kelvins. So again you will notice that so far we do not have any information that whether we have to consider the air as a compressible fluid or as an incompressible fluid. But since the initial pressure and temperature of the air are provided, it means that we have sufficient enough information that we can solve this problem by considering air as an compressible fluid. So we will solve this problem by considering air as a compressible fluid, or we will follow the same steps, or you can say that we will follow the same steps which we used in the last numerical as well. Calculate the throw diameter means we have to determine D2 when the flow velocity is 100 meter per second. Again C2 is given, which is 100 meter per second, and it was same in the last numerical as well. Assuming coefficient of discharge of air as 0.84, coefficient of discharge of fuel as 0.65, and gamma 1.4. so all of these things are being given, are provided to you, which were provided in the last problem as well. So the next thing is, if the pressure drop across the fuel metering orifice is 0.85 of that of the pressure at throat, means delta PF is 0.85 times of delta PA, and then you have to calculate the orifice diameter, means you will be calculating DF. So this question is very much similar to the question which we solved earlier. There is only a difference of numerical values in some properties. For example, the mass flow rate of the air is different, and the initial temperature of the air is different, density is different, maybe the value of the coefficient discharge of fuel and air is also different, but the concept and the methods will be same. Method for the solution of this numerical will be same. So I am not solving this problem, but I will provide you the solution to this, and you will solve this problem by yourself. So now I am moving towards the next question, which is mentioned over here, and this problem is quite you can say some sort of an important as far as the concepts are concerned. This problem is being given in the exams few times as well, so you should be very careful in understanding this problem. We have a 4-cylinder and 4-stroke square engine. 4-cylinder means that the number of cylinders are 4. 4-stroke means that we would be having the power stroke after every every 2 revolution, means that it means that your small n it means that your small n would be equal to capital N divided by 2. And also we have a word here that it is a square engine. So here by the word square engine does not mean that the engine is in the shape of a square, but it means that the diameter bore of that cylinder and the stroke length of that engine is equal to each other. This thing is mentioned, is explained in the chapter number 1 as well. So you have to keep this in your mind, that for a square engine, bore and stroke length is equal to each other. Operating at 40 revolutions per second, this is what this is the engine speed, and we represent it with capital N. So we have four cylinders and an square engine. For the square engine, D is equals to L. Then we were being given with the speed which was 40 revolutions per second. Then we are being provided that the carburetor venturi with a 3 centimeter throat. Carburetor venturi means that the diameter of the venturi throat is 3 centimeters, and at venturi throat we have a state, we represent it with 2, state 2. So it means that D2 is equals to 3. Then take the bore to be 10 centimeter. Now this is we are talking about bore. Bore is the diameter of the cylinder for that engine. So this is not D1, this is not D2, this is not DF, this is D only, and this is the diameter of the cylinder of that engine. Then the volumetric efficiency is given, which is 0.75. Density of air is also given, which is 1.15 kilograms per meter cube, and the coefficient of airflow, coefficient of discharge of air is also given, which is 0.75. And then we have to calculate the suction at the throat. Means we have to determine delta P A. Okay, now we will solve this problem. In order to determine this delta PA, since okay, now in this question you can see that we are not provided with the initial temperature and pressure of the air, so it means that this question cannot be solved by considering air as a compressible fluid. So we will solve this question by considering air as a incompressible fluid. So we would be using the relations which we derived in the second derivation, second part of that derivation. We will use this relation to obtain delta PA. Density of the air is given. We are not provided with the area, but we are being provided with this D2, so we can calculate it, because it will be a circular section. Pi upon 4 into 0.03 ka square will give you the area at state 2. Why 0.03? Because we will convert this 3 centimeter into the meters. CDA is also given, so but the mass flow rate is not given in this question, so we have to calculate this mass flow rate. Okay, so this is where we are stuck right now, that we cannot use this relation directly which we derived in the derivation. We will have to determine the value of mass flow rate of air, which is not given in this, which is not provided in the question. We are being provided with couple of things which can be used to obtain the mass flow rate. Okay, first of all, here you can see we are being provided with the volumetric efficiency. Now the question is, what is volumetric efficiency? I explained in the theoretical section of the carburetor as well, that volumetric efficiency is the ratio between the actual amount of air which is going into the combustion chamber to the ideal amount of air which should have gone into the combustion chamber, and it is always less than 100%. So here we, by using this relation, actual amount divided by the ideal amount. So what will be the ideal amount? Ideal amount would be the will be equal to the swept volume. So what we do require here is, we have to first of all calculate the swept volume for this engine. Swept volume or displacement volume can be obtained by using this relation. We have used this relation in chapter number 1 in various numericals, and you are quite familiar with this relation, so I am not going into the details of this these problems of these relation. We will simply put the value of bore and stroke length, which is L. Here you can see that we were not given that the value of stroke length, but we were provided that we have a square engine. For square engine, bore and stroke length are equal to each other, so both will be 10 centimeter. We have put the values of 10 centimeter. This will only give you the displacement volume of one cylinder, and since we have 4 cylinders, we will multiply it with 4, with the number of cylinder, which is 4, to obtain the entire displacement volume of the engine. Then we will put this volumetric efficiency and this displacement volume to obtain the actual amount of the air which is being taken in. You will note that it will only provide you the actual amount of a volume, but since we are concerned with the volume flow rate and the mass flow rate, to obtain the mass flow rate we should know the volume flow rate. We will convert this volumetric efficiency into displacement volume, and this actual volume of the air into the volume flow rate by simply multiplying it with the speed of the engine. You will here there is one very important thing to understand, that we have multiplied it with small n. Why not capital N? So the answer here is that we have a 4-stroke engine, and for 4-stroke engine you are completing your thermodynamic cycle in 4 strokes. So air will come into the engine after every 2 revolutions. Once in every 2 revolutions. That's why we will not use 40 revolutions. Instead we will be using 40 divided by 2, because air is entering in the combustion chamber in only 1 revolution. Then in the second revolution there will be no air which is entering in the combustion chamber. Then in the third revolution air will enter, but in the fourth revolution there will be no air which is entering in the combustion chamber. And in the fifth revolution air is again entering, fresh air is entering, and in the sixth revolution we do not have any fresh air which is coming into the engine. So that's why the air intake is occurring only once in every 2 revolution. That's why we will be using 40 divided by 2 here. Now we have obtained the relation for the volume which we have taken in for the combustion, volume flow rate which we have taken it for the combustion. We will simply multiply it with the density to obtain the mass flow rate. Now since we have obtained the mass flow rate and all the other properties were given in the question, we will put these values. I'm repeating again that this A2 can simply be calculated by using this relation pi upon 4 d square. Sorry, we can obtain this A2 by simply using this relation pi upon 4 d2 square, and d2 is provided, which was 3 centimeter. We converted it into meters. Now we have obtained this pressure difference. These are simple calculations which you can do it by yourself. So far we have solved 2 numericals, and I have explained the third. I explained the first numerical in details, then I gave the second numerical as a homework. I explained how to solve this, then we solved this numerical. we have another numerical, and that will be the last problem of our today's recorded video lecture. So now moving towards the last question. Okay, here you can see that a carburetor with float chamber vented to atmosphere is tested in a laboratory without air cleaner. This is basically the air filter which you must have seen in the car, in any car you may have in your house. The engine is run on economy mode with an air fuel ratio of 16 at 1 bar. The throat pressure is measured to be 0.82 bars. So this is the air fuel ratio, this is P1 and this is P2. This is P1 because air is initially at 1 bar, and this is P2 because this is the pressure inside the throat. This information is given when your engine was operating without an air filter, without an air cleaner. So here I have just mentioned the data: air fuel ratio, P1 or atmospheric pressure you can simply say, and the P2. These information are given in the in this question when we have operated this engine without an air filter. Now moving in the next section, we can see the same carburetor is once again tested with air cleaner fitted onto it. Now you have used an air cleaner. So because of the use of this air cleaner, there is some additional pressure drop of 0.04 bars. Okay, this is mentioned in the question. There is an additional pressure drop of 0.04 bar, which is this, and this additional pressure drop is occurring because we have added pressure drop air cleaner with airflow at the atmospheric condition to remain unchanged at 250 kilograms per hour. So now here it is also in this statement it is mentioned that the mass flow rate of air is 250 kilograms per hour for both cases, whether we have used the air cleaner or not. Now assume same airflow in both cases and constant coefficient flow, means that coefficient of discharge of air and coefficient of discharge of fuel is same in the both cases as well. Now determine the throat pressure with air cleaner, means we have to determine P2 for the second case. P2 for the first case was given, which was 0.82 bars. It was given in the question. But for the second case, when we have used air cleaner, we have some additional pressure drop, so the P2 will be different for this case, and we have to determine that value of the P2. And in the second part, you have to calculate the air fuel ratio when we have fitted the air filter. When we didn't have the air filter, the air fuel ratio was 16. It was given in the question, but for the second case it is not given, and we have to determine it. Now moving towards the solution of this question, here you can see that for when we did not have any air cleaner, the pressures at state 1 and state 2 were given and by taking the difference between them we can simply calculate the pressure drop across the throat, across the venturi throat, and it is coming out to be 0.18 bars. Now since we have added an air filter, so there will be some additional pressure drop. So now this delta PA dash would not only be P1 minus P2, but it will be P1 minus the pressure drop because of the air filter or cleaner, which is 0.04 bars. So P1 is 1 bar, this is 0.04 bar, and we do not know the value of this P2 dash because we do not know what is the pressure at the venturi throat when we have added the air filter. So we have obtained a relation for the pressure drop in terms of P2, which is coming out to be 0.96 minus P2 dash. Okay, I hope it is clear till now. We have in the first part, when we did not have any air cleaner, we determined the pressure drop. Similarly, we also determine the pressure drop when we have added the air filter, but instead of getting a numerical value, we have obtained a relation in terms of a P2 dash, and P2 dash is that pressure at the venturi throat when we have added the air filter. Now since the initial temperature and pressures are not given, so we will be assuming it as a compressible as an incompressible fluid question. We would be solving it by using those relations, and we are using that relation of the incompressible fluid for the air. This first relation is when we do not have any air cleaner. So we have delta PA, and when we have an air cleaner, we will have delta PA dash. So these are two relations. So since the mass flow rates are same for both cases, we are just dividing these relations. I am dividing this ratio with this one. It would be better if I just write it. MA CDA A2. This is the area at state at the venturi throat. This is square root. I am using this for the square root. Then we have 2 rho A, and we have delta, then we have delta PA. This is for without air cleaner. I hope it is clear now. So I have just instead of writing the symbol of the square root. I have just mentioned it as SQRT. This is the relation for the mass flow rate of air when we do not have an air cleaner. But when we have an air cleaner, we would be having the same equation CdA, because coefficient of discharge will remain same and area will also remain same, since we are using the same carburetor. 2 is also a constant, density of the air is also same, and instead of this delta PA we would be having a delta PA dash. This is with cleaner, air cleaner. So I hope it is clear now. So now what we are doing here is we are just dividing them. We are dividing both of these sides, and then since the mass flow rate is same, it will be cancelled out with each other. Coefficient of discharge will be cancelled out as well. Area would be cancelled out as well. This square root 2 and density will also cancel out with each other, and we would only be remain with the square root of delta PA and the square root of delta PA dash. And on the left side we would have 1 is equals to delta P A dash divided by delta P A. In fact, delta P A dash would be in the denominator. Delta P dash would be in denominator. So we will send this delta PA on the left hand side, it will be multiplied with each other, and we will get delta P A is equals to delta P A dash, and this is what we are using here. We have calculated this delta PA when we did not have any air cleaner, and we calculated it as 0.18 bars. We also put this relation for the delta PA dash, and as a result we simply obtain the pressure at state 2 when we have the air cleaner. You can see that by incorporating the air cleaner, the pressure at the venturi throat is a bit low, because there is some pressure drop in the air cleaner as well, and we have subtracted it with the pressure from the pressure at from which the air was coming into the venturi throat. And since when we are talking about the pressure difference of the fuel metering orifice, we have this pressure of 0.78 at section 2 when we are using the air cleaner, but at the float chamber the pressure drop, inside the float chamber the pressure will be 1 atmosphere, 1 bar will be atmospheric pressure, and that is 1 bar. So that 1 bar minus this 0.78 will give you the pressure drop of 0.22 bars. So when we are talking about the pressure difference in the fuel metering orifice, we have a pressure difference of 0.22 bar, because inside the fluid chamber the pressure is 1 bar and inside the at throat the pressure is 0.78, so the difference is coming out to be 0.22 bar. And when we are talking about the air pressure drop of the venturi throat, air is coming at 1 bar and that 0.04 bar is now lost in the air cleaner. Now the pressure of the air is not 1 bar, now it is 0.96 bars, and then it will drop till it comes to venturi and the pressure will go to 0.78 bar. So the pressure drop of the air is 0.18 in this case as well, but the fuel pressure drop, the venturi the fuel metering orifice pressure drop is 0.22 bar. So now we are using this in the further calculations as well. In the second part we have to determine the air fuel ratio. Here you can see we have used this, we have derived this relation for the to determine the air fuel ratio of the carburetor when we are considering air as an incompressible fluid. In the numerator we are basically using the case of when we have utilized the air filter, and in the denominator we are using the case when we have not utilized, when we do not have any air cleaner. So here you can see that all the coefficients of discharge CDA and CDF would be cancelled out with each other since they are constant. Areas would also be cancelled out, density will also be cancelled out, and in the denominator you can see that I have also cancelled out the delta PA and delta PF. This is what I was mentioning earlier, that when we did not have the air filter, the pressure drop, the air was coming from 1 bar and at the venturi throat the pressure was 0.82 bars. So the pressure drop across the venturi was 0.18 bars, which I mentioned here earlier, which we have also calculated it. And what will be the pressure drop of fuel? Fuel inside the fluid chamber is at 1 bar and inside the venturi the pressure is 0.82 bar. So the pressure drop of the fuel is also same when we do not have any air cleaner. So when we do not have any air cleaner, the pressure drop of air, the pressure loss of air and the pressure loss of the inside the fuel metering orifice is same. That's why they are cancelled out with each other in the numerator when we did not, and in the denominator. And in the denominator we are using the case when we did not have any air filter. But this is not the case in when we have used an air filter, because air is coming from 1 bar. Now 0.04 bar has been utilized in overcoming the frictional effects produced by the air filter. Now air is not at 1 bar, it is at 0.96 bars, and it is going from 0.96 bars to 0.78 bars. So the pressure drop because of this venturi is 0.18, which is mentioned here, because the pressure is dropping in the venturi not from 1 bar but from 0.96 bars, because there is a drop of 0.4 bar in the air cleaner, which is before the entry of the carburetor. So at the carburetor entry the pressure is not at 1 bar, instead it is at 0.96 bar, then it is going till 0.7, then it was going till 0.78 bars. Okay, for delta P A it will be the difference from 0.96 minus 0.78 delta P dash. And for the fuel, when we are talking about the fuel, fuel is not at the pressure of 0.96 bar. Because the pressure inside the fluid chamber is still atmospheric, which is 1 bar. So here the pressure drop will be 1 minus 0.78. So the air pressure drop is 0.18 bar and fuel pressure drop is 0.22 bars. So I hope it is clear now. I have explained this, I have spent quite some time in explaining this phenomena. This is because the pressure drop, that this 0.04 pressure drop has already occurred inside the air cleaner. That's why this difference is occurring in the second case. But this difference, but these pressure drops are same in the first case when we did not have any air cleaner. That's why we have cancelled out in the denominator when we did not have any air cleaner, but not in the numerator when we have utilized the air cleaner. So now we have just this air fuel ratio without air cleaner, which was 16, and we put these delta PA dash and delta PF to obtain the air fuel ratio, new air fuel ratio, which is coming out to be 14.47. So now we have we should end this topic. We have concluded the numericals of this carburetor as well. I hope the theoretical section, the derivation and the numerical part, I have tried my best to explain these things, but still in case of any query, just note down your questions, note down your queries. You can always ask me the questions in the online sessions as well, and you can directly ask the questions as well, simply by using Google Classroom or the WhatsApp group as well. I hope it is I have tried my best to explain things. In case of any query, just write down the question and ask me. I will try my best to explain these things again. So now we are concluding the topic of the carburetor. We will start the next topic in the next video tutorial. So till then, Allah Hafiz.